All right, welcome to another episode on my YouTube channel, which I think I will rename Hyper Bitcoinization, as we are big believers here. The reason that we're here today is because I'm joined by Adam Meister, because I'm very excited to announce that he's coming to our Los Angeles meetup in Century City, April the 17th. In the show notes below, you can find the link to the meetup. Where you can buy your tickets, and it'll be our biggest event so far. So I'm very excited about that. And we've had Adam before. It was super good. I'm very excited to have a full meetup just for Adam. So first of all, before we get into all the details, I just want to do a full disclaimer that none of what we say is financial advice. You gotta do your own research. This is only education, and you're 100% responsible for your own investments. But first of all, Adam, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Anders, I am so pumped to be here. You can hear the birds chirping outside. It's real early in the morning here in Darwin, Australia. Everyone knows I travel all around the world talking about Bitcoin. I had to get up this early and be this excited because I am pumped to come back to Los Angeles on the 17th. I love being in Southern California. I like being here in Australia also, but I am so excited to be here today to talk about Bitcoin, and I am just pumped to see everyone again in LA.
Thank you. And I remember last you were here, you were really liking the atmosphere and the positive vibe that you mentioned you felt. So that was awesome. But Adam, maybe you can tell us a little bit either about yourself, or maybe talk about when you first got into Bitcoin, which year we're talking about, and what were the circumstances?
Well, I have been hearing about Bitcoin since I'd say 2011 at the very latest. I mean, I might have heard about it in 2010 also, but let's say it was 2011. I used to, and I still do. I love to read about finance and money and the economy, how it interacts with regular people. But I like to see it from non-traditional perspectives also. And I really started getting into, I guess, alternative financial websites in the late part of the previous decade. And some of these alternative sites, I mean, some of them can get a little kooky sometimes, but I did hear about Bitcoin from them. And at first I was like, this sounds very complex, but I am interested in finance, I am interested in money, and I am interested in technology. So it stayed on the periphery for a little bit. And then it got into 2012. I can remember that clearly. And some more people were talking about it online. And I thought about it. I was like, well, wait a second. It was in the single digits. I can kind of remember that. And it would all of a sudden explode to the double digits. And I thought, well, it still seems too complex to buy. I don't want to wire my money to a different country. And then finally in 2013, it got a little easier to buy. And I kept hearing about it more on these alternative financial channels, whether I'd be reading about it or on YouTube. And then I was like, I got to get in now. So I got my first 2 Bitcoin in 2013. And once I got a hold of them and started playing around with them, then it was just to the moon for me. I was just full in. I made my first Bitcoin video shortly after getting my first 2 Bitcoin. I was so inspired. And 2014 and 15 were down years for the price, but I was just buying and learning. And I started traveling to different places, meeting Bitcoin people actually in 2015. So that's my start. That's my birth story, I guess, in Bitcoin.
Right. And it's a great time. I mean, if you can show passion and enthusiasm during the bear years of 2014, 2015, it shows that you're not just like superficially surfacing or doing like surface research, but you actually understand the deeper fundamentals, that there's something here that can potentially change the world. I know you're very bullish Bitcoin, which we've already heard now in this interview, and you're bearish altcoins. Why is that?
Well, I mean, I lived through the .com bubble also. I was a young lad back then, and I I saw all these great ideas come out. You know, everyone was creating a company. Everyone and their brother and their mother was creating a company, and I saw them all disappear. And I see that with the altcoins. It's really easy to make an altcoin. Everyone's doing it. And now with the ICOs, it's really easy to make an ICO. Everyone's doing it. But I know that the cream rises to the top, all right? And Bitcoin is the best one. It was the original one. It's the one that everyone copies. And so I know on their own that most of these altcoins are a lot of them are just scams and just pump and dumps. I mean, there's ones that have great intentions. A lot are ahead of their time. You got to, on a certain level, you got to keep it simple. Most of the great talent out there in the cryptocurrency space is working on Bitcoin. It's not even funny to see how many more programmers are working on Bitcoin than on all the other ones combined. So when you're down in the dirt, when you're
especially the good
people,
ones, right?
And that's all that matters. I mean, you can have a genius developer, one genius developer, and he's got a bunch of friends, and he makes this awesome altcoin. So what? Who's heard of that altcoin? I travel around the entire world, and people ask me about cryptocurrency, but they don't call it cryptocurrency. They call it Bitcoin. They're like, how can I buy that Litecoin version of Bitcoin? They ask me. And what they mean to say is, how can I buy that Litecoin cryptocurrency? But they call it Bitcoin. So it's got the brand recognition, but again, it's got 1,000 geniuses working on it, and all their friends. I mean, people don't understand the overwhelming numbers that are already behind Bitcoin. It's got the first mover advantage. It's been tested and tried already. So it's fine. Go create your own altcoin if you want to. But to say that it's going to overtake Bitcoin is ridiculous when you've been cemented. I've been saying this for a long time. People can check out my archives from 2015 when I'm telling people, hey, you know, you should get 10 of these Bitcoin, pay a total of $4,000. You'll end up with 10 Bitcoin. You'll end up in good shape. And so I stand by my prediction record here. And sure, some of these altcoins, some of them will survive. You know, it's really hard to like kill them, but for them a bunch of them to all end up like 1 cent or less than a penny, in the long run, most of them are going to end up abandoned like that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I guess that when we say that maybe a lot of them will survive, it's the definition of survival. I mean, will they thrive and actually grow in value, or will they be worth a few pennies? So all these altcoins, there's different types. There's some they also want to be money, like Bitcoin wants to be money. Some of them wants to be utility tokens, are a little bit more tied to a single company's success, which is probably more competing with the stock market than it's competing with money per se. Do you see any of that anywhere that has any potential, or are you buries the lot basically?
What interests me is the privacy coins. The privacy coin, I think Bitcoin could be more private. It could be more anonymous. And all these developers are working on building a layer on top of Bitcoin that will make it more anonymous. People say the Lightning Network, which we're going to get into a little later, is going to make Bitcoin more anonymous. But for now, there are some anonymous coins that do something that Bitcoin does not currently do as well as it could do. So, you know, you've got your Monero out there, or your Zcash, and now you've got your Bitcoin Private or B Private. So those are, they provide a useful utility. There's an answer right there. But eventually Bitcoin will be able to do what they do. So, I mean, and right now, do people really need a privacy coin? There are a few people that are into illegal activities that do, but I mean, I don't deal with such people. So, but I mean, again, ask those people if they need a market for, if they need a super private coin, and maybe they'll say yes, but I don't really know those people very much. And again, eventually Bitcoin will be just as anonymous as Monero supposedly is. I don't know how anonymous it is.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, I a private Bitcoin is not only to avoid being caught doing something criminal, it's also for the people that actually do have a lot of Bitcoin to not be exposed to how much wealth they actually have. The people that got in early, because with chain analysis, if you don't have privacy, you only need 1 or 2 transactions where your name is linked together, and someone who does this analysis can see your entire portfolio of holdings of Bitcoin. Yeah. So for that reason, I think privacy is a really good thing, and I see it coming to Bitcoin as well. And regarding what you mentioned earlier, actually, and by the way, let me just remind everyone watching this video that Adam Meister is coming to our meetup April 17th in Los Angeles, Century City. And that's why we're interviewing Adam, to get to know him better. And you have an idea of who is the person coming, and telling us how to tune out from the crypto noise and make sure you keep your Bitcoin, because we're all about Bitcoin in our meetup. We don't really believe in altcoins. But one of the things you mentioned earlier about how many people working, even a few good developers in Bitcoin is valuable. But last year there was actually more than 800 Bitcoin core contributors. So I think what seems to be the case is that not only is there a few really good developers in Bitcoin on Bitcoin Core, but they're also just focused on doing their job instead of marketing themselves, which is opposite, it seems, for a lot of the altcoins. How do you see that?
Oh yeah, exactly. They've got it. They're sitting there silently, just pounding away at all the boring technical, what would bore us, but it's interesting to them, just building the actual coin, building its utility, instead of just spreading the word, trying to pump its price. I mean, these are two different things. You've heard about some of these coins only because they've got marketing teams. Bitcoin is not, and they're centralized. Bitcoin is not centralized. It cannot pay people to market it. So it has volunteers, these genius volunteers, experimenting with it, building on it technically, doing all these complex technical things, instead of having a budget, paying, there's nothing wrong with spreading the word about your coin. Individually, as fans of Bitcoin, we're all doing it. We're doing that kind of work for them, the spreading of the word. But a lot of these coins that are getting people interested in them have paid marketing teams. And in the long run, it shows that you're a stronger coin, a stronger project, when you have people working on technical aspects of your coin for free, rather than paying people to pump up your coin in terms of marketing and brand recognition. It's two different directions. And in the long term, you build a solid base through technical aspects of your coin, not through having a team say my coin is the greatest thing in the world, and believe it, we'll give you free coins. There's no centralization of Bitcoin that way, which just shows you the power of Bitcoin, that this decentralized mechanism is the #1 coin out there, is the most popular one, is the most recognized one, without a marketing budget at all.
Right. Adam, both of us are big believers in Bitcoin. I'm very interested to hear, where do you see Bitcoin ultimately going? What will be the end level or role that Bitcoin will play in our society? What do you see happening?
I think it's almost unimaginable. It's like asking someone in 1994, tell me about the apps that are going to be on the internet in 2014, and you couldn't been able. You probably would have said, well, you'll be able to talk to people over the internet, but I mean, you couldn't predict YouTube. You couldn't. I mean, there's so many different directions this thing can go in that's beyond money even. But simply put, I think it will be the world reserve cryptocurrency, which it already is. But it is going to be a way to, it might bring down governments. give this intense financial freedom to people that we do not even understand. Will it be the world currency? Will it replace the dollar ultimately? Will there be no more paper? Will there be no more fiat? These are possibilities. I'm not sure. I don't think in 20 years, if we still have the dollar, I think that'll be fine. I think, you believe in the hyper Bitcoinization, that could happen also. The possibilities are endless. The possibilities are bullish. And yeah. I don't think we're going to be able to fully predict how this is going to end up. I think it's very exciting how it's going to end up. And I think that there's going to be a lot of positive. I do know this. There are going to be whole new industries built on top of Bitcoin. So many opportunities for regular people out there to start businesses and to make money off of this, and not through sheer speculation, not through just. I mean, through sheer speculation, you're going to do pretty well too, I think. I mean, if you just hold it, that's what I tell people to do. If you're not a technical person, if you don't want to buy it, if you don't want to build a business around it, that's cool. Just buy some and don't do anything with it and wait. But if the entrepreneurial opportunities are going to be out there also, and just talking with people one-on-one at these type of events, that your type of event, you hear all the ideas, you meet all the creative people. It's just so exciting, and I love to talk about it. I love talking to people like you online about this because it just gets my mind going, and to think about the positive future is very exciting. We're on the verge of a revolution, a peaceful technical revolution that is going to be bigger than the internet, I think.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Regarding nations potentially ending, I used to think that way as well. That libertarians are saying that it's the printing press of money that are giving nations their power, and that is why nations exist. But we have to remember that we had sound money until 1933, which was the year where if you had gold, you had to sell your gold to the United States government if you lived in the United States, if you were a citizen here. So we had nation states for centuries while there was sound money that wasn't, where governments couldn't print more. So I think we have to agree that nation states can actually exist without having the power to print more money. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I only see fairly positive things, or mostly fairly positive things coming out of Bitcoin. It far outweighs any negative things in my point of view. Adam, so-called no-coiners that don't believe in cryptocurrencies at all, they claim that Bitcoin can never be a currency because it is too volatile. What do you say to them?
I mean, there's plenty of currencies out there that jump around in value, that get hyperinflated, and I mean, there's so many in Africa that are worth so much less today than they were a year or two ago, and the people are still using those. So I say this, that it is deflationary, which is a whole new experiment. We've only had inflationary currencies in the past. Let's see how it plays out. The price has been jumping around a lot, and people are still using it to transact, to send money across borders. It hasn't slowed down people using it. So I say those are just people coming up with excuses, and they might be a little bitter or sad that they don't have Bitcoin. I mean, what do they want to use? Do they want to use a currency from Ghana instead? I mean, what's better? What would you rather have your hands on? What has more utility? I mean, you can't. All these other currencies and gold, regular fiat currencies and gold, you cannot take from across a border without, you can be searched. They'll know you have it. Bitcoin, you can't say that. You can take that across a border. No one will know that you have it. You've got it in your head. You've got your private key written down somewhere. It is almost magical. Its properties and its usefulness when you look at it that way. So sure, that the price in terms of fiat might jump around, but I tell people, value your wealth in Bitcoin. So if you value your wealth in Bitcoin, if you have one Bitcoin today, you still have one Bitcoin tomorrow. It didn't change in value at all. Who cares about what it's worth in terms of dollars? You're stuck in the old paradigm if you're worried about that. You should be trying to get more and more Bitcoin, because it is people will very much accept Bitcoin from you in so many countries for their products. I mean, people in the West, we're not used to our entire monetary system going down, being inflated out of existence, at least not in the United States or Canada, probably. But these other people all around the world, they understand, and they know that, hey, you know, I want the real thing. I want the Bitcoin, and some of them will take dollars too and everything like that. But you see where I'm going with this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Bitcoin has a very safe base layer in the protocol that is it's maybe slower to transact, but it's also considered to be by far the most secure cryptocurrency because of all the mining power and the people who have developed on it and removed bug and improved on it since 2009. Now a layer on top of that, well, many layers are coming on top of that, but the one that is most famous is Lightning, which is a so-called second layer solution, which will actually enable instant near zero fee transactions. So these fees will be sub pennies, and the transactions will happen faster than you can load a website. It'll be like nanoseconds. What's your take on Lightning, and how do you see that sort of influencing Bitcoin in general in the period forward?
There are two perspectives on this, and there's the technical perspective, and then there's the marketing perspective. You mentioned no coiners, people who don't have any coins and just like to rip on Bitcoin. Or then there's some altcoiners who do the same thing, which is it's their right. You can say what you're going to do. What people love to repeat who do not like Bitcoin is that it's too expensive to send and it's too slow to send. Well, here's your marketing victory right here. Lightning Network, it's fast and it's cheap. There you go. You can't, the people who constantly say it's too slow or it's too expensive, your answer now, your marketing answer to them is Lightning Network. There's the solution. So now what are you going to complain about? Where's the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt that you're going to spread about Bitcoin? So it's an incredible marketing victory there. But technically, this is so cool that you're going to be able to do this now. And I am not a technical guru at all, but this is going to be the first successful the first popular second layer solution built on top of Bitcoin. So this is going to open the door to so many other second layer solutions, such as a privacy one. And who knows what else that we can't even imagine now in terms of building on top of Bitcoin. So on that technical level, this is opening the door for so much. And people are building businesses around this Lightning Network. So the opportunity on a technical level is overwhelming. It's tremendous. So I am very excited about it. I get asked about it everywhere that I go. So I wish I had some more technical answers. And there's so many. Andreas Antonopoulos talks about it. Vortex talks about it, and he'll be coming to Southern California after me, actually, I believe. And
June 2nd, Vortex is coming to our Century City meetup in Los Angeles. Very exciting as well.
Yeah. So we have all these people, whether they be technical geniuses like those dudes or guys like me who are just love to talk Bitcoin. Everyone's excited about this Lightning Network. So the possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. So what other areas do you think than Lightning that we can agree is very interesting? What other areas in Bitcoin do you see as interesting? What do you see happening?
That's the biggest thing right now is the Lightning Network. Definitely in terms of, because when it boils down to it, it is, let's build a technical monster, a technical giant here. Let's do that, and the world, and it's going to change the world. Now, on I guess on a financial level, it is interesting. I'm a buy and holder. Again, all I ever do, I don't trade. I've never sold a Bitcoin for dollars. Okay. In the year 2020, we have something called the Bitcoin halving coming up. We already lived through the Bitcoin halving of 2016. Every 4 years, the supply of Bitcoin that miners produce gets cut in half. So there's going to be less, and there's going to be less Bitcoin put on the market starting in 2020, which is an exciting thing. It's a deflationary aspect. I've been talking that up for a long time, and you lived through the 2016 halving, so you know that there's these, right, that people don't find out about it until the last second. They really should know about it now. So all of you viewers who don't know about it, look into it. And that's not crypto noise. That is hardcore crypto knowledge. That's the type of thing I'm going to be talking about at my speech. Stuff that like that you're like, wow, that's really bullish for Bitcoin, instead of getting distracted by the latest hottest altcoin. But going back to that is going to be a big event. And if you know about it in advance, you're going to be like, oh, wait, the Bitcoin's probably going to go up in value because of that. So again, I don't make price predictions. And again, this is not an investment channel. It's not investment advice. Now, another thing in terms of, another thing that you should know about in terms of Bitcoin and I guess financial innovation is that we have all of these coins forking off of Bitcoin. I call them crypto dividends. And if you're a holder of Bitcoin, if you control your own private key, you get all of these crypto dividend altcoins for free, okay? So in that, and then you can turn them into Bitcoin. People buy these things. We had B Cash, we had B Gold, and now the one that people are talking about, and I've been talking about, is one that's called B Private, Bitcoin Private. I don't even call them by their Bitcoin names because there's only one Bitcoin. I appreciate that. I don't want people getting confused. So let's call it B Private. Well, this B Private was basically just born yesterday, and we're all getting this free privacy version of Bitcoin. And I think the market
sign up for that, or is that automatically granted?
If you control your private key, you can split.
And is there value on them yet, Adam? Is there a value on them? Do people know if they're getting 0.1% of a Bitcoin value? Is it a 1% of a Bitcoin value? Or
we're going to know soon, because these guys actually have it set up that there are exchanges that are going to be able to trade it like right away. So by the end of the week, we'll know a value. It'll be on exchanges. I mentioned this because we were talking about privacy beforehand. We're talking about altcoins beforehand, and it's already involved in the Bitcoin ecosystem in this way, and it's nothing to obsess over. Don't lose your private key because of this. But while all these other people try to build new altcoins, if you're just off of Bitcoin, you as a holder of Bitcoin can benefit and think of them as a crypto dividend, just a free present from someone. And there's ways to turn them into Bitcoin. There's a lot of people say like, oh, I wish there would be interest payments on Bitcoin. Well, you can think of this as an interest payment on your Bitcoin. Or a lot of people say, oh, I only can afford one Bitcoin. And that may be true, but you're getting these free altcoins from just holding your Bitcoin, and then you can turn them into more Bitcoin, which is, if you look at it that way, is a very positive aspect of these airdrops or crypto dividends or whatever you want to call them. So that's something that is interesting and going on currently.
I would just like to add to that people should never enter their seed in some random website that claims that they can help them get their airdrops, because then they will lose all of their Bitcoin, highly likely. So they got to be extremely careful about how they claim these. If their hardware wallet is not helping them with them, which it seems not really to be the development happening anymore, then they should, and this is, you got to do your own research, but as I understand it, you got to first move your Bitcoin to a new hardware wallet, back up that seed, several copies of this seed. Now the original seed where you no longer have your Bitcoin, that you can get your airdrop on, the airdrop is there, or the fork, and then you can start and play with it. But first you got to make sure to move your Bitcoin, unless you want to lose it. Am I correct?
You are correct, and we shouldn't even be. Now we're getting real technical with the people on here, and
Yeah.
so if people don't understand this, then you just wait to an easy solution. Your Trezor sometimes splits it for you. And again, when I'm in Los Angeles and I'm meeting everyone at this event, and I'm going to meet every single person there, you can ask me questions like this that we're talking about, and I will take the time and I will answer everything to the best of my ability. I love communal events like this because everyone does have a very specific question and very specific concerns, and it's just you get a feel for the excitement and what direction the entire ecosystem is going on. And it's just, I love to connect people. I love to connect people, and it's just going to be a totally awesome event where I'm going to be connecting people, answering questions, and man, I can talk and talk, and I'll stay as late as they allow us to stay in the room, baby, to talk to everybody that's there. I'm real excited. That's
awesome. That's a great promise for the people coming. And by the way, I can only second that. On the meetups we have, it's a really good crowd, and it's a great network opportunity for everyone attending. There's a little extra plug for the event, April 17th, link down below. Yeah, actually, this one is going to be by far the biggest event we've done so far. We are for the first time using the big cinema, where we have space for 100 seats, and before we had 46 seats in the smaller cinema. So it's going to be an awesome event that I'm very much looking forward to, Adam, with you up at the front. And you have specifically said you don't need a mic because you can speak loud enough so everyone can hear you. We look forward to that. Adam, though, we're getting near the end, but if we should be fair to people, both you and I are very positive Bitcoin. If we should try and be, or you should try and be a little bit critical, or ask critical questions. What do you think is negative for Bitcoin, or what's the dangers that Bitcoin is facing, if any? And how do you see 2018 play out in general, both positive and negative? So that's two questions. But first, what's the dangers for Bitcoin this year, and how do you see the year play out?
The dangers of Bitcoin is that if too many people in the Bitcoin community, and I've seen this in different countries to varying degrees, get obsessed with making it accepted, to catering to the governments, to worrying about regulation, to getting just distracted by regulation. There are too many people out there that are like, well, let's invite some federal regulators to our conference so they can talk about, why Bitcoin should be regulated. And just playing into that game is not productive. It's let them come to us, okay? Let's not worry about building second layer regulation aspects of Bitcoin, and worrying about, let's play the New York license agreement game. Let's invite all these Ben Lasky guys over and try to work with them. It's a waste of time. They do not understand it yet. And to prop them up as legitimate Bitcoin voices does not help it slows down the progress of Bitcoin. And I'm going to South Africa basically in a couple days. I'm going to be at a tremendous event there. And one of the last times I was in South Africa, or the first time I was in South Africa, there were so many South Africans that wanted to cater to the South African government, that were like inviting all of these people from the finance ministry or their central bank, and I found it to be such a waste of time, and I don't think it was very productive for the. I don't think it really helped the progress of Bitcoin in South Africa. And so, I mean, there are probably going to be people from South Africa who be like, well, you have to play by their game, but that's not what Bitcoin is about. It's not about playing by the rules whatsoever. So here in the United States, which is the financial capital of the world, I'm from the United States. You're in the United States right now. I'm in Australia. But in the United States, we cannot worry too much about and put too much into every little move the government does. We cannot put them on a pedestal, because once you start catering to them and making them a legitimate voice, they're going to have the power to put a wrench in the entire thing and slow it down. Not that anyone can destroy Bitcoin, But if you give these people who don't know a thing about Bitcoin too much of a say, they'll be happy to take that say and take it 100 miles longer and just mess up the whole thing. So let's let's be legal here, but let's say to the government, hey, if you want to play the game, you're going to play by our rules. Don't put too many rules on us here. We're not giving you a mic to tell us what the rules are here, to give you an opportunity to put more rules on us. So there's a negative aspect, but it's something that you could look at as a positive if you if you don't deal with them. But no, what were you going to say? Sorry.
Right. Well, so Adam, you don't think that it's a good idea to ask permission? Please, can we be allowed to replace you? We're here to disrupt you. Will you allow us, please? You don't think that that's the right approach?
Yeah, that's not at all. You just let do what you're gonna do. Just do what you want to do. Pay your taxes and everything, of course. But just work. Technically speaking, work on the progress, and whatever ends up happening ends up happening. And if someone wants to attend the conference, let them buy a ticket to the conference. Don't put them as the main speaker at the conference, though. I mean, that's right. That's just messing up the whole engine. It's slowing down your car. Don't do that. You want the best oil possible in your car. You don't want the government brand. Yes.
So on the meetup, April 17th, where you're coming and doing your presentation, can you tell us a little bit about what you will be talking about? You touched a little bit upon it earlier. Like, what can we expect without revealing all your conclusions, of course? Let's keep a little bit for the excitement, but let's hear a little bit about what you will talk about.
Well, right, every day people email me some of the craziest questions you've ever heard, and the reason they ask these questions is because they're hearing so much nonsense, so much crypto noise, so many rumors out there, and some of it's like a soap opera almost. And a lot of people's natural tendency is to get obsessed with drama and soap opera type of topics, and they get distracted and they end up doing crazy things with their Bitcoin. So I am going to try to separate the fact from the fiction so people do not get distracted. And I'm going to try to get people more focused on the end goal of just holding your Bitcoin. And then some people are going to say, well, that sounds kind of boring, just holding your Bitcoin. And it sounds easy just to hold your Bitcoin. Oh no, it's not that easy. And there are so many distractions out there. And some of you right now might be thinking, well, there aren't that many distractions. And you might think that one of the distractions that are out there is totally legitimate. And you might be involved in something that's totally illegitimate right now. That's a total distraction where you're going to end up losing your coin. So it's good to go to these educational opportunities so you see, like, oh my God, that was nothing but a distraction and a scam, and I could have lost some Bitcoin that way. So I'm going to be there separating the fact from the fiction, making sure that people stay focused and don't get caught up in all of these very tempting distractions in the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin ecosystem. There have been an incredible amount of them, and they're just growing more and more every day, and they seem more legitimate every day, these scams, and they become more vicious and dangerous every day. I mean, BitConnect, if people got caught up in that, there's a perfect example of crypto noise and a scam and something that people lost a lot of Bitcoin to.
Absolutely. I agree. Well, that sounds very exciting. Thank you very much for joining me, Adam. We look forward to having you. And
I did want to add, besides that topic, you can ask me any other questions too. There'll be a question and answer session afterwards. So
absolutely, yeah. So both Adam and I enjoy Q&A after a presentation because there's a lot of questions, as you said, in this space, and it's nice to clear up any doubts or gray areas. And there's just so much to talk about. So yeah, we really look forward to someone with your experience, many years as a content producer, YouTuber in this space, and following it, pretty much living Bitcoin full time, with your knowledge, being there to share the knowledge and answer the questions. And shout out to World Crypto Network, which is also a great channel to follow, no doubt. All right, Adam, is there anything here before we go that you want to add to the people?
Yeah, I just want to say, if you want to check me out, if you want to even learn more, if you want to get even more pumped about my April 17th talk and get more excited for it, check me out on Twitter at TechBalt, TechBalt. You can watch I post a new video every day at my channel. Disruptmeister.com is a shortcut to my YouTube channel. You can just look me up on YouTube at Bitcoin Meister. But also, I am part of the World Crypto Network. We're all in podcast form. You can look up all the World Crypto Network's podcasts. You can listen to Tone Bays, listen to Adam Meister, Vortex, Andy Hoffman, to Thomas Hunt. I'm skipping people. All sorts of people are involved in the podcast at the World Crypto Network. That's what my shirt is. It's where the smart people hang in this space. There's some really smart dudes, and it's all about the content with us. It's not about the pretty pictures and the fancy graphics. It's about getting the knowledge out there. So look us all up. I'm really pumped to meet everyone in Southern California. Come from Northern California too, if you want to, down to LA. I love LA. It's going to be great on the 17th.
Absolutely. And yeah, I recommend definitely follow Adam on his YouTube videos. There's lots of good content there, and on Twitter as well. So please do check that out. All right. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Hope to see as many of you as possible, April 17th. And Adam, if we should hang out, I can see there's a few viewers here live on the video. If we want to hang out with them in chat, ask them, see if there's any questions or something, is that stop broadcast, go to the live chat? Or?
I will tell everyone that's watching this live right now to pound that like button. That I forgot to say. And yes, I will, if you guys pound that like button right now, I'm going to click on the chat, and we have about 5 to 10 minutes before it shuts down. So I'll say hi to everybody in the chat. So yes, we'll be able to do that too once this is over. So you push end, and we'll say hi to everyone in the chat then. So pound that like button, everybody.
Thanks, Adam. So stop broadcast and then go to the link I sent you earlier. Awesome.
Yes.
All right. See you in the chat, guys. Bye.